So the idea behind the Microgrants for Neighbours program is that nobody knows their community and is in better position to help their community than a neighbor. And why not give small amounts of money with little bureaucracy and a little bit of support to the people who are best positioned to make a difference in the places they live? It's been an incredibly successful program so far, I believe, because during some of the most challenging times that this island has ever seen, we have both had more people applying than ever before, more money that we are able to give away, and most importantly, more projects that actually happened because of this. And because of the incredible community of neighbors that stepped up and said, hey, I want to do something. I want to do something for my community. We also were able to put together a completely revamped jury process this year, where we had 12 jurors, all neighbors like you, from a spectrum of backgrounds and ages. And for the first time ever, half of those jurors were under the age of 32, and a quarter of them were teenagers. And what we see from a juror, an active juror, doesn't just help decide who gets money, but they also help bring in really inspiring projects and ideas. So they're sort of our advocates, and then they work together with the different program recipients to ensure that their programs actually happen and to make it easier for them to accomplish what they are dreaming about accomplishing.
Our names are Saren Anderson and Yamuna Young. We grew up spending a lot of time at Jack's Pond. In summer, it is all dry. In the fall, it fills with rain and becomes a pond. In winter, the pond freezes so we can skate. But spring at Jack's Pond is the most important time. Hundreds of frogs lay thousands of eggs. The frogs that live here are the Pacific chorus frog, or more commonly called the tree frog, and the blue-listed at-risk red-legged frog. Sadly, depending on rainfall, the pond starts to dry up in April or May. As it dries, the tadpoles and eggs are forced into small puddles of water that eventually dry up. Before the tadpoles and froglets complete their metamorphosis, we, along with our siblings and neighbors, rescue hundreds of tadpoles every year. We are unable to rescue all of them.
Frogs are important for the ecosystem, so we wanted to find a way to give the frogs a chance. We have contacted local biologist Sabina Lederman and local wetland specialist Miranda Cross. Both have agreed to support the project and help the frogs. Because it involves wetland restoration, this will not be a quick project. We need a lot of expert help to make a plan. Once we have a plan in place, the permit application will take 12 to 16 months to process. Creating a viable habitat for these frogs is something we've wanted to do since we were little. We are so grateful to Microgrants for Neighbours program for making grant funding accessible to us so we can help the frogs.
So myself and a few other mothers recognize the need to find better ways to care for parents and babies on Cortes. And we know that there's some really great examples of amazing community that does occur on this island.
My name is Jennifer McLeish Lewis. I'm a contemporary dance artist and choreographer, and I use the microgrant money to host a dance temple event. One spectacular thing that happened that we did not plan, but there was a crazy rainstorm that day, and the clouds were really dark and bleak, and there was lots of thunder and lightning. It was a very dramatic rainy day leading up to the evening. And then about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes into the dance temple event, after the music had started and everyone was dancing, the clouds broke and the storm went away, and this incredible rainbow happened that was visible from the deck of Manson's Hall. and people were outdoors just like worshiping the rainbow and dancing out on the deck, and it just felt like this moment of joy that was so ecstatic and so appropriate for the night.
Well, my name is Fawn Barron. I live on Cortes Island, and the project was born because of questions from friends and clients of women who in their 40s and early 50s were approaching menopause, and our culture does not talk about it in the way it needs to be talked about. The project is really what I call now a women's empowerment group, because women who move into this transition in their lives come out the other side empowered if they are given permission and the right information and the safety to go inward and then blossom.
And what do you envision coming out of the project?
One thing I envision is that this will be a seed group, so that of the 13 women, I feel pretty hopeful about 5 will create new groups. So again, reaching community, reaching all facets of community, and just beginning like a web to grow.
And what about just the experience of taking part in the grant program itself, micro grants for Neighbours? Can you share anything about your experience with that? Or
it was very wonderful. Manda is very clear and very supportive, and it went really well. And Emma, who's doing this interview, has also been just a ground of calm. And I've been a one-on-one, hands-on person. I've never done anything. I've never had to register or be official, and so that was my edge that was freaking me out. But I feel like I'm surrounded by so many women who know how to do that, and so I feel confident.
Oh, hey folks, Bobby Newbie, still down under, just finishing off the last steps here. Got the wood up on the bottom and run a seam here with this big stretch caulking material. This is like an oil-based stain that's going to keep the critters out of there. The bugs just won't like eating that, so they won't chew on it, and the big stretch basically keeps bugs out of the cracks there, so that when the winter comes. Actually, this is Robert Carrington. I'm a local artist, builder on Cortes here, and I took on this project of these 2 tiny homes. I bought the shells, and I was going to finish the interiors on spec, and I had them parked here to work on them by Linnea, and I thought, why not add to that by filming what I'm doing here and making a YouTube show, so that the whole community of Cortes Island can see how this project goes, and they can come and lend some advice and appear on the show. Suppliers could give information. It would just be a whole sort of YouTube channel devoted to building a tiny home on Cortes. It just seemed like an amazing project. I came up with Bobby Newbie as like a character who would guide you through it, and shot a lot of footage, but summer came along and had some unexpected costs, and the costs of building went through the roof, and the idea of just finishing these on spec just kind of faded away. So finished off the bottoms here, but now we've sold them and we're going to move them to their resting spot, but got all this footage left, and I want to do something with that. So that's where you come in. So you see, instead of all that footage just disappearing on my hard drive and getting dusty, with the Micro Grants for Neighbours project, I'm able to rescue the material that I created and put it up on a YouTube site, folk YouTube we'll call it. And that way, instead of it all just disappearing, the Micro Grants for Neighbours project will give me the justification for spending the time and taking the footage I've shot and putting it on the web for everyone to see. So and the dark hours of January and February are on me and I can't work on these things, I'm going to be using the micro grant money to edit together and upload to the folk YouTube channel the footage I've created, and that way establish a YouTube channel for the future that any other folk projects can put up on their folk YouTube projects. So with the micro grants for Neighbours project, it's allowed this amazing pile of material to finally get to its destination, because the minds of Cortesians thinking about tiny homes. Anyway, thanks so much for the grant. So easy to get, and now folk YouTube will be a reality. 1, 2, 3.
You're watching Folk YouTube.
Hello, good people of Cortes. I'm Eitan, and the funding that I received through the microgrants program has gone towards covering the annual subscription fee for a group emailing system that I'm going to demo for you right now. Welcome to Cortes Connects. This is a group email system for islanders, and you can start an email subgroup around anything, and it can be public or private. One of the great things about it is that it's ad-free and it doesn't track you in any way. This is different than, say, any activity on Facebook, and also not everyone is on Facebook, but most people still use email. So this is really a great way to be inclusive. The other great thing about it is that people can manage their own subscriptions. They can also choose how often they get emails, if they get them individually or if they get them grouped. You know, the old way of doing it basically was where you would send an email maybe to yourself and then you would BCC everyone. But it is laborious, and if you're trying to manage maybe a list with somebody else, it can get a little messy. Also these days, these kinds of emails possibly end up in people's spam folders. So there's quite a number of subgroups currently on it, and you can also see there's 386 members, which is quite a few people considering our small population. So they're organized basically in two categories: announcement-only lists, where people aren't interacting on the list. Here's an example: Cortes Currents. There's also the Death Caring Collective has announcements, and also Folk University News. But then there's also participatory lists. So the Cortes families making it on Cortes. So these ones are ones where anybody on the list can email the list. Here's Cortes Family Talk to facilitate communication between families on Cortes. And then there's neighborhood lists. That's it for now. If you're interested, please just go to cortes.groups.io and you can get more info from me. My email's on the website.
Hello, my name is Tommaso, and this is my micro grant for Neighbours project, Cortes Island Main Circle. I did organize the men's circle once every 2 weeks through the summer with 7-8 men. It was a very good time to get together and to find some grounding and to find some space to listen and understand each other and find mostly that we are not alone, and we all have challenges and life problems. And during this circle, we sat down together and did some exercises and answered many questions and find out about ourselves and the people in the circle, creating a safe space where we could share our stories, our problems, our emotions. And it was beautiful to see how the circle got stronger and stronger and the safety of it grow during these 6-7 months. And it was very inspiring to see people coming over and over and expressing how they feel or not expressing how they feel wherever was appropriate for the time. And it was very exciting, it was very inspiring, it was beautiful.
Hi, I'm Esther, and the Little Library Project is my micro grant for Neighbours on Cortes. Bruce Ellingson made the plans. Kids signed up. We collected a bunch of books. Quadra Builders delivered all the supplies. And on a beautiful sunny day, we went into the workshop and we created all the kits. We delivered them to their homes and they put them together and painted them. And when they were done, we picked them up. When I travel around, I always see little libraries in small and large communities, and it's always so much fun to find a good book for free, unexpectedly. And then when you're done, you just put it back or find a new one and put it there, and it's so great to share. It's really great to see what the kids came up with, and I'm very excited to put the last 2 coats of clear varnish on them to protect them from the weather. And then the last step will be installing them in the spring when the snow is gone and the windstorms are over. We'll install them near the public docks, so if people arrive on Cortes by boat, they can find them, and if you're driving around, you can find them too.
Hi there, my name is Kate Madigan, and I organized and applied for the Micro Grant for Neighbours grant for a wood carving class to offer to the community, mostly to kids. It was very successful. I couldn't have done it without the grant to pay for the wood carver's time to teach this class. His name is Volker, and Volker Stegeman, and he's very well known locally for his carvings, and he's been doing it for decades. And so I really wanted my child to acquire some skills and spend some time with Volker. Volker was really, really good with the kids. There was 4 kids and 2 adults. Couldn't get quite enough kids for the workshop. But it was very well received. He was really, really good with the kids. He's taught this before to adults and children on Cortes. And so we were so lucky to have him. I really love this program because it's been funding workshops like this that wouldn't happen without the grant. And so we were just so thankful for it. And I just wanted to invite Fergus over here to just show us his carving and show us what he did. I did submit a couple of photographs, but he's going to show us and explain what he did. So this is Fergus.
Hi, I just made this head, and it took quite a few classes except for the last one. And the last class I made this dog, and it was yeah, it took a while, but Volker helped me quite a bit out with both of them, and it was nice because he did a lot. And then this is the knife that I used. He had a sharpener so it didn't get dull. As you can see, it's like basically a mirror, so it's very sharp. And he had it, so this is what I used to carve everything with. And we got everybody got one of these, and we worked on these. Volker helped me out a lot with this one. As you can see, there's quite a few details with it. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And I like this class because I'm learning like stuff with my friends, and Volker really showed me a bunch of techniques. For example, if you go like that and then that, and then just keep repeating, then you get like a wedge like that, like where the neck and the head meet. And then so you do that a lot, and then I did it with my friends and two adults, so that was fun. Everybody was really nice, and we did it at the Gorge Gazebo, so that was pretty cool. And yeah.
So this is the journal. It's in color, and it's 76 pages. There's a land acknowledgement and an explanation of what our intention is and why we call ourselves the Dark Island Arts Collective. And then a letter from the editor, so that's from me, and then people's art. So this is Iris's work. I won't show everything, but just show some of the spreads and how beautifully they turned out.
Hi, I'm Hillary, and for a few years now I've been interested in grassroots mental health and what that support could look like in a community. The Mutual Support Network is designed for people who feel like they could benefit from having a safe space to express themselves and who are willing to provide that same support for another person. People of the Mutual Support Network are encouraged to share their feelings and experiences and troubles. I applied for the microgrant to be able to offer people an incentive to join the Mutual Support Network, and also to acknowledge their time commitment to the program. As the organizer of the Mutual Support Network, my job was to advertise for registration, first of all, and then to pair participants so that they could provide each other with weekly half-hour sessions of compassionate listening for a total of 5 weeks. I had 7 people register, but one of them couldn't continue, and so we had 3 pairs of participants taking part in the program. For me, the most important part of the Microgrants for Neighbours program wasn't the actual money, it was the validation that my idea was worthwhile. The Mutual Support Network can run with no budget, but I knew that I wouldn't have tried it if I hadn't been responsible to the Microgrant Committee to at least try to run my project. In fact, after organizing the Mutual Support Network this fall, I'm excited to be running the project again. This time, I won't be able to offer a prize at the end to my participants. However, I've already had 3 people register for the new year.
I'm Tamias. And I'm Autumn. And this is our project Bokashi for Coexistence. And it's about bokashi composting to help us coexist with wildlife and also to build soil, to use our food scraps to build soil while making sure that they're not attracting wildlife. So a bokashi composter is basically a bucket with a tight lid, and compost goes in and a starter culture goes in with the compost, and then we seal it, and that starter culture maintains an acidic environment that kills pathogens, and it also breaks down the compost in an efficient way so that the nutrients in that food waste can become soil rather than being released into the atmosphere or sent to the landfill or any of the other things that might happen. This
project has the intention to make composting really accessible for everyone, to reduce the amount of compost and food waste going to the landfill and thus attracting wildlife at the landfill, but furthermore to reduce the amount of attractants at home. So this is a really accessible way to compost, not only to be responsible in securing our attractants for wildlife coexistence, but also in feeding and nourishing our gardens.
Nistin tok na tutu shamtams chui na I jusam. I am here teaching the children how to speak our language.
And can you tell me a little bit about why this is important? Why you're willing to take your expertise and time to do this?
Due to residential school, I've lost the language, our language. I use them. Being in the residential school for many, many years, I knew I was born with our mother tongue, but I lost it due to the residential school. Once I grew up and found out how important it was to find our culture after we've lost it due to residential school, I took the time to go back to school and learned how to read and write our language and orthography. It took me 2 years in the North Island College in Campbell River. It was a pilot project, but many of our, there's a few of our people that took the course, and I got my teaching degree in orthography to come home and to be able to revive our language with our people, whom are quite still learning to trying to get our language back.
Hello, Amber Athnan. My name is Amber. I just decided to put in the language stuff because if there needs to be there's always children that are out there learning some languages, and if if anyone didn't really learn Ayajutham, I don't think there would be any more Ayajutham.
And then, and you were part of the microgrant jury, is that right?
Yes, I was a part of the microgrant jury.
And you were the youngest member, weren't you?
Pretty much.
How was that?
Scary. Nerve-wracking, pretty much, yeah. And especially that I'm not really good too much with people. I'm not really good too much with my words. Yeah.
However, thanks to you, there were quite a few applicants that came in from Clahous. Is that, do you remember how many applicants came in?
Quite a few, yeah. Quite a few.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge in this language and this part of culture with our children.
You're quite welcome.
So thank you. Thank you for each of you who donated small or large amounts to make this program happen. Thank you for the jurors and the neighbors who helped to support and guide this project along. And most especially, thank you, all you neighbors who helped do microgrant programs, who did something in your community to share something that you cared about or you believed was important with those around you.